I wanted to say I'm Theo. I am Oksana Zhelisko. I have been professional artist for, well, a long time. I don't even know now how long.
Just pull a number.
Pretty much since I came to Canada. So I would say at least 19 years. Originally from Ukraine, Lviv. Came here in 2002. So in Canada became my home.
My full name is Theodora Harasymiw, but I only use that when I'm in trouble. And I'm a visual artist. I work in paint as well as mosaic, not at the same time though. And
Sometimes you do.
Yeah,
There's a combination of both.
There's a few where okay, you're right. And working professionally out of my studio for about out of a studio for 24 years.
We're excited to participate because the whole show and idea of the show started, of course, with a glass of vino.
Or
and having a best friend be part of the show is the best thing that anyone can get. So
and about travel.
About the traveling.
Yeah.
We both like to travel. Theo is way beyond.
No, it's not.
She went around way more.
So
the whole idea is like to paint places that we've been, we got excited about, or places we want to go back to, or places we want to go and never been.
Or that we love.
So the whole conversation started, and that's where the dialogue's coming from. So it's all about traveling and passion and color. How it continues, the thing is, the show was supposed to be in May, so it gave us a little extra time.
Yeah.
To get ready, but at the same time, I think I'm still not ready.
Yeah, well, there's always room for more, which means our dialogue will continue. For myself, I think in the beginning when the lockdown sort of happened and I was in quarantine for 2 weeks with my children, I was really excited to have all this time and not have to be anywhere. And I think I went through a painting frenzy a little bit. And it was great, the freedom to just produce, but then as slowly quarantine came out and then having to reintroduce yourself into, well, somewhat normal environment. I was sad to have it end, so to speak, in terms of time, and for me it worked very well, and I produced a lot while I was in the basement. Couldn't be in my studio though, so.
For me, it actually didn't slow down. I just had to reinvent myself, I think. Probably the hugest thing that bombarded my mind and the whole realization that at least 5 of my art shows were canceled, and something that I was working on and hoping to have has been just completely crushed. So just replanning, I guess. I cannot say that it gave me more time because my busyness from the previous life became busy in a different way. So yes, I started creating more, but also starting to plan a little bit and do different stuff, I guess. And again, it just gave me a little time to prepare for the show. And if before I worked only for the shows and getting ready for the shows, of course I had to change a little bit of my angle and start doing commissions more. I mean, we do need to eat.
We do. Yeah.
But in the long run, I think a lot of people were saying that it made us slow down a bit and appreciate what we have in the moment and spending more time with family and
I think the creatives did very well.
Yeah, and even though for people who never created, they started creating. So I find a lot of people who never painted before started approaching me.
Or paint, like I did a lot of block printing. I started going back to lino cuts and block printing, which I hadn't done since university, which was playful and fun. And I think I had so many different mediums going at one time. I was overwhelmed that my whole house turned into this stations of lino cuts, printing, painting the floor in the basement, and the kids were like, so much stuff everywhere, and I was like, it's good, we'll be fine.
So how does it feel to go back in the studio now here?
Good, because I needed my space to go and be calm again and then organized, and so having the space to create was very important to come back to. Well, but we met because our kids were in Ukrainian dancing. at least I knew Oksana was a painter and had a fabulous artwork, and I think we'd seen each other, but we'd never really spoken. And it was finally, I think you were working at the paint spot, and I came in and I just said, damn it, I just need to meet this woman, and I'll meet her.
Yeah, and I think we met here. Yeah. The first night we met here over a glass of vino and talked
Right.
and talked.
Oh yes, I said
And
finally
that
you're gonna.
night,
Yeah.
this is my kind of person.
Yeah, we had, and then eventually, of course, we should have a show, because our styles are so polar opposite, but to have similar themes, but different ways of doing it is quite interesting. And
But we do have something really in common, that we both like color, and it really
Right.
translates in the different techniques, but it's still about color and contrast.
yeah, and you like to work in oil, and I do not.
Maybe next show we should say, okay,
Swap
you're gonna start
materials.
working exactly with oil,
That would
I'm
be
gonna start
interesting, wouldn't
acrylic.
it? Oh, that would be fun.
I like the juiciness of the paint. I love the way you can just manipulate it longer. It doesn't dry on you fast. I guess this is everything you love about acrylics.
Yeah, it's funny. That's exactly. We in university had to learn all the different materials as well, and we had half a term with oils, and I remember just digging my heels and going, "This is not for me." Although also the smell actually aggravated me terribly.
Well, back in the day, they were using different mediums and different things.
So then, and it was the quickness and the ability to paint over, and I used to paint probably 3 or 4 paintings a week, like on top of each other. I'd be like, okay, done. And it was probably to make use of canvas and whatnot, but paint on top, paint. and it was also because I love to layer as well with dots and lines and pattern. And so if it had been oil, I never would have had to, I would have been sitting on a painting for years. Because on top of that would be more pattern or more line or...
Our workshop is really a continuation of what the show is all about.
Right.
So it's a little bit of that,
I'm doing
city,
tiny
urban.
town and you're doing urban.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing that for me was I had Greece, which is a very, they're a little bit different styles. So my portion of the show may not be as consistent as yours because my Greek, I was in Greece last year at this time, and so it was inspired but very flat and playful, whereas my Croatia series was shortly after getting back from Croatia about 3 years ago, and still have them, because I'm still inspired by them, so have them at home, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can use my Croatia series. I never had shown it. So the styles are inconsistent with one another, but the Croatia series always looks like Croatia, and the Greek series always looks like, lost my English, looks like Greece, but yours is consistent all the way through.
I can still when I was putting everything in frames and stuff and having the whole show been seen, I'm like, I can see that I was going through one kind of mood to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's all oils, but sometimes experimenting, but I think it's still cohesive. It's still a series. Because no matter, our mood is changing constantly when we paint. Our just even attitude towards one or another subject matter changes.
Yeah.
So it's creative process. That's how it usually works. And I feel like for me personally, those dialogues, I don't think this is the end.